they don't have nothing to complain about because they not, like, I'm not gonna complain. Like, if you see somebody that got a fucking high ass car payment and he's trying to make the car payment, he gonna complain because it's stressing him out. But a nigga that don't have no intention of paying the damn car payment, he just like, I'm gonna just ride this motherfucker till they repossess this bitch. He ain't gonna complain because he don't give a shit.
Yeah, they carefree about it.
He don't give a shit.
They're carefree about it. Yeah, and JC in the chat, shut the fuck up. I'm not complaining about laws that I wish were there. There's real paternity fraud that's getting pulled.
Exactly.
No, seriously,
Okay. So Roger Ailes has passed away. He, of course, was the founder of Fox News and helped Nixon, George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, all of them get elected, to some degree Donald Trump as well. Certainly promoted him for free over and over on Fox News. And of course, he was a serious sexual
I hadn't pulled the trigger on anybody. The threats that he made, whip us, beat us, rape us, I took it serious. I had to, because I was trying to protect my family. I went back into the home, in my house, got my firearm, and I came out. And I walked from the front porch right across here, and you got to understand this was total darkness. The closest I ever got to any of them at any time was
All right there. Thank you for tuning in. Just doing a little test right now. Actually, I'm trying to find a spot in my where I was talking to the angry man, so I'm trying to allude to that. And if you have some comments or something that you want to talk about, go ahead and just start typing on in the chat room there. Just a little quick little test of what I normally do at night here. So just hang out with me for a little bit, and I'll be right back with you.
Living in my apartment before she got pregnant.
Mm.
No trip about it, I was able to calm down, but it was when we talk shit about you.
Well, I think
no. Remember when I said it's that one old nigga.
I think Edward. I think
that indicates that I don't mean to do.
Well, hold on. I think Edward was saying that he think it's 50-50, meaning it's.
But it was so magnificent. It was beautiful, and he needs to upload that video. But I'll
see, this picks up right where I think I'm about to start calling into the angry man. So we can take the comments from there, and I'll go on from there. And plus some other things I'll switch back and forth to elaborate on what I think what I would have said if I would have gotten on.
We have this, and I'm talking to black men. You notice how if you're in a barber shop and if a black man is complaining about child support, what's the first thing you'll hear old niggas say? You need to handle your responsibility. You need to handle your
business, old slave nigga.
like it's assumed that he's complaining because he's not. And I'm like, he wouldn't be complaining if he was. If he was not trying, he would not be complaining.
Exactly. You wouldn't say shit.
He wouldn't have nothing to say.
He wouldn't say shit. He wouldn't say nothing.
You don't hear them. You don't hear them dudes. Exactly. But them dudes always have an obligation to put that out there.
like it's naturally assumed. Like, well, it's kind of like when you try to set the record straight when sisters are talking their BS. It's like, well, first of all, you need to handle your responsibility. There are no black men that believe that black men should be out here having kids and just leaving them out to die.
Nah.
No black man believes that.
No.
But so this idea that you gotta correct that, that's why I started to disrespect a lot of old niggas that would say that. Look, and they would say you should disrespect your elders like BBS would say that. And I would say no, because you gotta slam that door in their face so they know they full of shit. You can't be letting dudes say any old thing because they old.
Nah.
Because then you can't tell the difference between a BGS and an old nigga.
Yeah. Cause you know.
But the point is, black.
Go ahead.
No, what you say?
No, I was gonna say, like, you know, the whole thing with brothers who are complaining, they complaining because they go like the dudes that you know are basically what we call the dirty dick Rodneys. They don't have nothing to complain about because they not like. I'm not gonna complain. Like, if you see somebody that got a fucking high ass car payment and he's trying to make the car payment, he gonna complain because it's stressing him out. But a nigga that don't have no intention of paying the damn car payment, he just like, I'm gonna just ride this motherfucker till they repossess this bitch. He ain't gonna complain because he don't give a shit.
Yeah, they carefree about it.
He don't give a shit.
They're carefree about it. Yeah, and JC in the chat, shut the fuck up. I'm not complaining about laws that I wish were there. There's real paternity fraud that's getting pulled.
Exactly.
No, seriously, there's, and I'm gonna tell you something. Like, I'm not gonna bring my own mom into this because I love my mom, but man, I even had to pay for shit that my mom did, and I'm her fucking son, and I had to fucking pay for that. I had to pay like $1,500 back in the snap. They took out of my fucking check for my fucking taxes. So there is, and I wouldn't put my own mom in jail over that shit. I will eat that shit. But my point is, there's real laws that women are breaking. And there's a lot of shit that is considered fraud in any other part of the law. But in child support law, it's like this protection clause there. It's like that legally bullshit. It's kind of like stand your ground. Where a white person, it's a lot easier for a white person to pull stand your ground than it is a black women that try to pull stand your ground get put to fucking jail.
Yeah.
Even if they just shoot the gun in the air versus white men can kill a black person and then get off stand your ground. So it's kind of like that. So shut the fuck up with that stupid shit.
Matter of fact,
like, it's not us complaining. This is real shit.
Matter of fact, I think that's him at 843. I'm gonna bring him into this conversation because he's running his mouth too much. Yo. Who is this? Is this MrDJMuziq?
Yes, sir, buddy. This is me, my man.
And what did you have to say? Because I see you in the chat room. What's going on?
What's going on there, Mr. Angry Man? I just want to, I'm from the old school, so I just want to holler at that last cat that was on there. Not all us old school cats think like that.
He's right here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, not all us old school cats think like that. Well, we don't have that mentality of, damn, man, you should handle your business. No, I'm one of those old school cats that firmly believe, bro, that the system is fucked up and it's geared to fuck us up. So
it's about 50-50.
No, it's not 50-50.
I know all of them ain't like that.
It's a much higher percentage than 50-50. I'm a product of the 60s.
Okay, well,
so I've seen this shit from the start to right now. I've seen what's going on from 1962 on to now. And there's a difference in black women. I'm going to tell you, some of you black women that get on here talking about, oh, y'all shouldn't talk about it like that. But like my man, Angry Man, said, you gave us reason to talk about you like that because you will not see a woman from 1960 on Facebook, YouTube, with the first picture that you contacted her is her ass up in the air with a pose. And then the next picture you see is her child talking about, look at my baby.
Damn.
Come on, you didn't see that in the 60s. You didn't see that in the 70s. You didn't see that in the 80s. You see this in the 90s and the 2000s.
So
don't get mad, black ladies, when we talk shit about you.
Well, I think.
No, remember when I said it's that one old nigga.
I think Edward. I think
that indicates that I don't mean to do.
Well, hold on. I think Edward was saying that he think it's 50-50, meaning as far as 50-50 it's 50% old dudes that know what time it is, and it's 50% old dudes that's on that other shit. I think that's what he meant. I may be wrong. Is that what you were saying, Edward?
All right, okay,
Yeah,
well, all right.
yeah,
I'll agree with that. I'll
yeah.
agree with that. It is 50-50. You got some cats that's my age, you know, you sit around the barbershops and stuff like that talking about, man, these young folks just don't get it. No, they don't get it because we didn't give it to them. So some of the shit that's going on is our fault, bro. You can't expect to give a cat an education and sit back and talk, and you think you got a solution when you sitting here telling me a cat your age and my age, you can't teach me, bro. I already know. I've been through it. I've been through the 60s when I had to go through the back door and eat to buy chicken. I've been through the 60s where a cat handed me some cookies out of a jar, and I know he didn't wash his hands. I know he did. I've been through all of that. So nobody in this room can tell me how right and wrong they are about the situation, because all this stuff you guys talking about, I've lived it, bro. I've been in it. I've been down the street where my mom said, you know, another thing, you folks talking about the difference in black women. When my pops was in the army and my uncles was in the army, who the hell who you guys think held us down? Who you think was out there taking them low menial jobs for absolutely nothing? My mother raised 10 children, folks, and did not ask for a dime in
But I gotta say something. I don't mean to cut you off, but I gotta say something. Here's one of the things that's getting on my motherfucking nerves, and I want to say this, and I want every simp-ass nigga and every black woman to hear me. Black women have, this era, my era, millennials and Gen Xers, which is the last one, have been trading off that righteousness that black women of your era built up doing what you just said. They have been trading off of that for years.
Yeah.
Basically talking about black women are the rock of the community.
Yeah.
Like, that was true when what you was talking about, that has not been true for the last.
All right, that's where I want to stop that right there, because first and foremost, I don't know if you're from that last channel that we were listening to, but you know, I may be talking to a blank audience, but I think I'll pass this on to my man later on. I want to address that last caller. I think his name was Randy or whatever. But first and foremost, sight and unseen, you would think you were listening to a woman, just in the speech pattern and just in your vernacular and what you were saying. I was thinking I was talking to a black woman. So you see, that's what my problem is. You know, everyone always want to come up and want to say, well, the old school is this, and the old school is wrong about this, the old school is wrong about that. Well, let me tell you something about the old school folks. We got it right. We tried to pass the torch to young folks like you, coming from the 80s and coming from like 80, I would say from 85 on. That's what happened to so-called black community. You know, you get these again, I say these kumbaya moments where some tragedy has to happen for black community to come together. Where is black community, or where is black woman, so to speak, before Tamar Rice got shot down in the street? Where was she before Walter Scott got shot down in the street? Why the only time a black woman want to make herself an appearance is when it comes to speaking some negativity, or when it comes to being in front of the camera. And when I say black women, of course, I don't need to preclude this with I guess a so-called 80 percentage. So I'll go ahead and say it, or disclaimer, so to speak. The disclaimer I'll say to this: okay, I'm not talking about all black women. Some folks will get on in here and say, well, your sister black, your mama black. Well, I'm not talking about my mama or my sister or my aunties or anyone else connected to my family, because first and foremost, I'm not on the radio now, so I can say what I want to. There's two kinds of pussy out here, folks. It's the pussy that you're related to and the pussy that you're not related to. I don't fuck the pussy that I'm related to. Don't think in that light at all. So I'm talking about the 88% of the women that I have to deal with, because I would imagine 12% of the population that I know personally is connected to me. So you other 88%ers, I'll say this to you: if you were born from 1985 on, you got a problem. You got a problem to think you're entitled to something. Someone told you somewhere along the line that you need to be protected from black men. What part of the protection from us you need? Where is it? I could probably click on the YouTube right now and go find 50 black man bashing videos about you women, from you black women. You figure out a way to where if I can get some welfare or if I can get some AFDC, and I'm not speaking from somebody else's experience, I'm speaking from my own. I'm speaking from the experiences of being married to a black woman that figured the best thing in her life was to attack my pockets as often as she possibly could, put me in a system that she know that wasn't geared for me to win. And I'm talking about this so-called child support system. Let's break that child support system down, since that seemed to be a hot topic for folks. And I'm not telling you about somebody else's experience. I'm going to tell you about my own. From 1992 to 2003, I had no problems with the child support system, because you know what? I didn't kick no stink. I just let it ride. Whatever they say I owe for having children, that's the only crime I've ever committed now. Having children. According to the laws of this nation, that's the only crime I committed. Having children. And that's the only thing I've been ever locked up for. So from 1992 to 1990 to 2003, had no problems, had no problems with the law, so to speak, and child support. 2003, my son turned 18. So I started questioning why I need to pay this amount of this much more child support if I only have one more son that's 2 years away from being 18. Well, he may be going to college. Well, I talk to my son on a regular basis, so I know he's not going to college. Oh, okay. So the next thing I know, instead of getting an audit, I'm getting a summons to say to appear in court because you did not pay. Haven't paid enough child support. Not that I haven't paid enough. And for those of you out there that are on child support, I want you to go look at your last statement when it just tells you how much you owe on current child support or if you owe on back child support. And there's another little block right there that says interest. That's what costs you to stay on child support so long. Because that interest is compounded, not daily, it's compounded hourly almost. If you owe $2,400 right now on child support and didn't pay another dime, by this time next year, you will owe at least $8,000. If you don't pay another dime in child support on $2,400, and you don't pay another dime of child support for another year, you will owe $8,000 at the end of that year. That's the statement that they'll send you. Why? How can I say that? I'm talking about the paperwork that I got. And the reason why I didn't pay child support for less than a year was because I moved from California to Georgia. I didn't want my son raised up around the ghetto hood. I didn't want my son raised up around the mentality of seeing folks go to their mailbox, picking up a paycheck. Picture that. So my reward for that, and that's another thing about the child support system. Because you have children, and because you have a relationship that didn't work, they expect you to be stagnant after that. The system is geared to eliminate the black man from the working class. And why I say that is because, number one, first and foremost, they almost make it almost impossible for you to go to work and earn a living. Because the more you make, the more they tell you that you owe in child support. If you don't believe me, ask Shaquille O'Neal. Ask some of these high-profile artists and rappers and football players. Facts and figures, in 1984, I was paying almost $1,200 in child support. And I worked at the San Francisco, in 1994, I was paying almost $1,200 in child support. And I was working at the San Francisco Hilton and Towers. And that's not to count the insurance. Again, you're talking about a system that's designed to destroy black families because it promotes the laziness in black women. It tells the black women it's okay for you not to have that black man in the house because you can get his money without him being there. I'll help you. And by the way, I'll give you a little $10 job, $1 an hour job, give you a raise every once in a while at the post office, at the DMV, at the child support office. Think about that. You giving a single mother a job at the child support place. Strike one against any black man or any, as a matter of fact, any man that goes in there. That's like giving Donald Trump the keys to the White House. Y'all know you fucked up. Too late now. A little too late, ain't it? So let's get back to this child support system. Think about this. For every state, there's a child support agency in every county. In every one of those counties, they have to be manned by someone. They have to have employees to answer the phones for the support cases. So where do you think some of your child support money is going to? To pay for those very salaries of those people who are there to take your salary from you. There's offices that have to be paid for. There's all kinds of things that have to be paid for. And now let's go a little deeper. And see, what you need to do is break the child support system down to its smallest angles. And then you'll understand that it is not geared towards black men. The next thing about the child support system is plain and simple as this. Say if you live in Georgia and your children in Indiana, they now can charge you an interstate commerce fee. You'll see that on your report if you ask for it. It's intra and interstate. Interstate meaning that you live in a county to where your children live differently. So that's a tax for them there. They can get that money from you there. Interstate means that you live in a different state. I lost my stream. There we go. The stream continued. My fault there. It continued. Interstate means just that. You know, if you live in Georgia and your kids live in San Francisco, they can charge you for that. I think I'm losing my channel again. Let me see if I can get some action going here. All right, I think we're back again. I'm not exactly sure why my stream is getting. Maybe if I throw a little background music in, it won't eliminate my stream there. So I'll try and let me throw some music around, and that way it'll seem like it won't pause and seem like I have to pick up. So 1 second, let me click on my Sam here, Sam Broadcaster, and let's see what we want to hear. How about some? There we go. How about this one in the background? Let me turn it down first. Icebox, Omarion. Well, that won't seem to play either, so 1 second. You know what I gotta do there? Anyway, folks, I'm gonna try and connect on the stream again. I'm not exactly sure if you can still hear me or not, but it seems like the stream is, I see that the time is moving, so if you can hear me, you know, the internet is one thing. It helps us and it hurts us. I'll try and, well, I'll just continue talking here. I see it's still ticking, so something might be going on. It says it's not streaming enough video currency, so maybe it's just because I'm not talking enough, or maybe I don't have enough background activity. Who knows exactly what it is? Let me try this then. How about this? Let me switch on over to that. Maybe I'll get some more video activity going on back in. But what I'd like to continue to talk about is this child support system, and it really is, like I say, you have to break it down to its smallest thing. Again, you got all these surcharges. It's now a business. It's now become a part of our economy. Think how many single mothers that are out there that the first thing that happens when they break up, they tell them, well, in order for you to get any assistance, you have to put the child's father on child support. That's the first thing they tell them. Next thing they tell them is, okay, I don't really want to know where he's at, so I just need a forwarding address. So that's the next setup about this support system. They never send the address to where you currently live. They never send that summons to go to court to an address to where you currently live. Either by design or by purpose, it never is. So that means you have 30 days to answer that summons. And if you don't answer that summons in 30 days, chances because you don't live there, you won't answer it. They go do this word, and I hope folks understand when you hear this word adjudicated, that means you lost that case. You lost. That means whatever they decide that you should pay in child support, you now have to. You have just been adjudicated. I wasn't aware of that until 2010, I'm sorry. The last time that I went to child support court, and instead of going home, instead of going back to work, I got locked up for 7.5 months. When I say locked up, it's a hell of a thing to tell a man that you can leave the jail in the morning, but you got to come back at night and turn yourself in. And for 7.5 months, that's exactly what I did. I saw people that came in that had committed violent crimes, that had sold vast amount of drugs, that's been done stitches in jail, and they got out of work release quicker than me. 7.5 months at having to pay these folks $284 a week to go out and work. And once they found out that I didn't work for anyone, they told me, like again, folks, I'm telling you, I don't have to speak about somebody else's experiences. I'm speaking of my own. From that caller from the Angry Man, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna play a little bit more of the Angry Man, because there's some things about his show that I really want to address, and I'm gonna see if I can back some of it up here, and we'll get into some more of that child support thing there in just a minute. But anyway, like I said, it's a system that's designed to eliminate black men from black women, and black women and if you don't see this, if you don't pay attention to this, you'll fall victim to it. You know, a lot of you black women will say, I'm a strong black woman, I'm an independent black woman. No, you're not. Most of you women don't understand that you're one paycheck away from being completely broke. You're one mailbox look away. Wonder why my check ain't here today. For being mad at the fucking world. Taking it out on your kids. I can click the videos to where women has gone, black women that call themselves black queens, the best thing that's ever happened to a black child, because they didn't get a welfare check or because they didn't get child support from their baby daddy, kick children, throw children down the street. Click on the YouTube and you can see these videos for yourself. I'm a radio personality, so a lot of folks send me these videos. They ask me to comment on them. I don't want to comment on it. I can comment on the person that did it, but I'm not going to comment on the actions, because you know it's wrong. The thing about it is, my comment would be to the people who film it and don't do anything. When you see a mother, because she didn't get some child support, kick a child, and the next action of yours is not to go and kick that mother, that's your fault as well. So don't ask my comment on that. Let me go back to a little bit more of the Angry Man here. Let me see if I can pick up some of what my dude was talking about. Anyway, big shout out to you there, Angry Man. Great channel you got here, bro. You know, every once in a while I kick back and I listen to a lot while I do my work here and get prepared for my radio show at night there. But big ups to you there, man. Here goes. Let me click you on right quick, like.
When you're looking at this argument, you're looking at it from a microeconomic point of view.
Okay.
And you're thinking that by this cut, as you stated, this will be a deliberate, or this will be a rebirth for the black community. When 25% of the black community, I believe, is on welfare itself. So if there's any cut, it's going to dramatically hurt the black community, since the black community is so, dependent on the system.
Okay.
And the problem is, the main issue is not welfare. The problem is is wealth, and there's no jobs that are being created. And they're not being created.
I want to pause that part right there, and it's not. I disagree with that caller, and it's not the fact that there's no jobs being created. There are plenty of jobs being created, but we as black people, we're not qualified for these jobs because of our educational level. Most children, black children right now, are highly undereducated. We're not on pace with our Chinese counterparts. We're not on pace with our Korean counterparts. We're not on pace with our white counterparts when it comes to school, simply for two reasons. Number one, we're not made aware of our history. We're learning someone else's history. We're learning white American history as they see it, because that's what they see. That's what we read in their textbooks. In order for a black child to get a real education, they first have to go and figure out the source of who and what they are. You know, the only thing about the education in any public or private school, the way you see a different color than yours, is the math, because math is universal. 2 plus 2 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. No matter where you look at. No matter what form of hieroglyphics it is. If you got 2 and you add 2 to it, you now have 4. So math is universal. But when it comes to history, when it comes to science, when it comes to this, all this is genetically geared not to teach our children correctly. So if you go back and as far as history is concerned, and if you start looking at history for what it is, there would be a lot of people that would not graduate from school based on what they know or what they were accredited for in high school, because that history was taught to them incorrectly. One of the biggest misconceptions about history that folks will tell you that there's such thing as white Jesus. We know that's virtually impossible, but we as a black community, we live that, we allow that every day, because you walk into the average black home, you walk into 90% of the black homes, there's a white Jesus somewhere hanging around. And the thing about why I bring that up is because again, you always break things down to its smallest thing. Who's running these homes right now? These homes are run by single black women. I had a person on my show that got a little, I won't say she got a little hot under the collar with me, but as soon as I said that you black women are raising effeminate black men, you are, because they're taking on your personalities, they're taking on your qualities, because there's not a man in the house to show them how to act when in a certain situation, how a man would act. What they see is the quality of how a woman would react. And that caller, that last caller, that before you chimed on, the angry man, that's how a black woman would react. True enough, I used a few superlatives, but if you go back and listen to that person that had those that you had me on with, that's how they articulated themselves. Every other word was a curse word. The F-bomb dropped several times, and I wish a nigga would drop several times. I wish a nigga would try to educate me talking like that. You can't. And I think that's why that caller hung up, because he or she knew I was about to get in their ass. Two things that white America hates the most: a black man and a black man with an education. And that only not goes for white America, sometimes that goes for black America as well. I had a woman that get mad at me because I answered 5 Jeopardy questions in a row. Not a white woman, a black woman. You think you so damn smart. Huh? You know, folks will say, well, you shouldn't get on these channels and tell about your personal life. I have to, in order to make it authentic. I have to tell you what's personal. It has to be authentic. There's no sense in me doing it if it's not authentic. There's no sense in me sitting here with limited people listening right now and talk about something that's created or made up. You know, again, some of you black women will get on and say, oh, you got a black mama, you got a black sister, you shouldn't be talking black. But give me one reason why I shouldn't. Give me one reason why I shouldn't talk about you. Give me one reason why I shouldn't talk about. See, that's the thing about it. I'm answering the question right now because I am a businessman. As I'm sitting here making this video, someone just called me and said, "Hey, when you coming to take care of my yard?" I didn't have to solicit that business. Haha, picture that. Sorry, folks. I'm answering a question here, so I had to get a little business done right there. So I'm back to it. But anyway, let's listen to a little bit more of the angry man here, and let's see what he has to say now. I almost lost train of thought there, so let me get back into it. Some angry man.
But in the black community, and they're not being created in the black community because the black community doesn't have wealth. That is the issue. Like all these issues that you're talking about goes back to the bottom line of black people don't have wealth. I think you agree with that. I saw your video with about Boyce Watkins and Yvette Carnell, and you talked about some of those issues. But I don't think people understand the scope and just how that affects everything. That's why I said it affects everything socially.
How does it affect everything socially? I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
Good question.
I'm trying to get what your overall point is.
My overall point is,
And see, that's the thing about that, folks.
Capital,
You know, folks will
cut.
folks will come on these things here, and they think they have all the answers. They think they want to be so smart about using big words and trying to articulate themselves using words that they don't understand or they don't know. And then when you get guys like the angry man or guys like me that call him on that, then you hear my man start muttering and stuttering. Well, first of all, we all know that money does not dictate how the success of having money does not dictate to whether you become wealthy, because a lot of our ancestors walked away with absolutely nothing. When I say nothing, all they walked away with was the clothes on their back. A lot of our ancestors left the name of their slave masters, and the first thing they came in contact with is what they changed their surname to. I can tell you that because that's a story that's been floating around my family for years. Most of you folks don't understand, don't get the smallest concept of how far you are removed from slavery. I do. I know that I'm only four generations removed from slavery. So I can understand, because some of the stories that folks want to talk about slavery, I heard, not secondhand. Folks in my families have lived to be over 100 years old. My grandmother died when she was 106. My great-grandmother died when she was 102. So that's 200 years right there living that I was exposed to. My mother is currently in her 80s. So you don't think that some of what was going on with my mother and those women wasn't taught to me correctly? So when you folks get on here and you start spouting this, and I heard him say in one part of this earlier, he was talking about how the internet and all that just is bad for you. Then he wants the angry man to go Google something. Well, what is it you wanted him to Google? I really wanted to know. Let's find out.
Money for poor people. That's my overall problem with you, because a lot
The majority of we live in this is what okay. So this is the problem I have with your argument.
Right.
I'm gonna try to address each point. First and foremost, you are correct. Black people do not have wealth in this country, and we have very limited access to wealth. Now,
Correct.
But at the same time, we live in a very rich country. Do you agree with that?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay.
The richest country on the face of the earth
Okay, so
ever.
so you agree that the amount of money or the conditions of being poor or wealthy or rich or middle class, all of those things are relative to where we are. In other words, somebody who's poor in Africa, in one of the less developed areas, is not in the same conditions as someone who's poor in America. Do you agree with that?
That part I'll disagree with. I think
understand what you're trying to
poor is poor, folks.
say.
It's
I wouldn't
not Poor is poor. It's a relative factor. If you're poor in Cincinnati, you're poor because your environment around you is poor. Just if you're poor in Zimbabwe, you're poor because the environment around you is poor. Now you have to do one or two things, and when you surround yourself with an environment that's not prosperous or doesn't allow you to prosper or doesn't allow you to get out of that, then you have to want to do two things. Either you're going to sit there and continue that cycle, or you're going to do something about moving out of that cycle. And until you do, that's what you're going to hear folks say, well, I can't seem to get ahead. No, because you don't make the proper steps to make yourself get ahead. I could easily say, as the product of 10 children, I had to struggle. Now there was no coming up in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. There was no brand new shit. There was no brand new bike every Christmas. There was no new car at graduation. There was no, can you pick me up and take me to the movies? Can you take me out to the movies? There was no cell phones. There was no, I gotta have me a beeper. There was none of that. If I wanted something as a young man, I had to go out and earn it. I had to go out and cut grass. At some point in time, we didn't have the lawn equipment that you guys have to go out. We didn't have the trailers and the stuff that you guys have to make it easier. I would venture to say any man that has a truck that's sitting at home broke, that's his fault. If you got a truck and you got $4 or $5 to put gas in your truck, at the end of the day, you can make $100. All you have to do is drive through some neighborhoods, pick up some refuse, take it to the doggone recycler. They'll pay you for it. Another man's trash is another man's treasure. Some folks don't want to believe that. Some folks would rather sit black folks. I'm not talking about white folks because I don't live in white world. Some folks want to say, oh, well, as long as I get my welfare check at the end of the month, I'm good. Some folks right now, black folks, black women in particular, because you're the most recipient in the black community of welfare and AFDC. So this is going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt me. I don't receive a welfare check. I don't receive benefits. I'm not on WIC. So this situation is not going to hurt me because I've been struggling at this. I've been struggling at this America my whole life. I've been struggling to hold down and maintain a job, pay child support, pay rent. You know, you heard Dr. Ben Carson say in one of his interviews that being poor was a state of mind. I'll be damned if it is. The state of mind ain't never paid rent. Being poor is not a state of mind. That's an actual fact. You're going to stay poor until you do something about it. That's not a state of mind. If you don't have no money today and you don't go out and earn some money, you're not going to have no money tomorrow. So it's not a state of mind. That's actual fact. That's not color. That's not a color thing. That's a human thing there. I don't give a damn what color you are. If you don't get out and produce, you're not going to earn. I think Pi said it best. Don't work, don't eat. That's what a nigga know. What a nigga know. What a nigga got to know. You know, some folks want to go jump at me in a minute talking about you use the N-word. And it's been used in me for a lot worse things. So pardon my French if I use the N-word from time to time. I think I raped that. I think I earned the fact because of where I grew up at that I could use the N-word, whether it's N-G-A or E-R. I earned the right to use it because the N-R part of it was hurled at me for absolutely no reason. A lot of those folks over in the Angry Man channel, you only talking about the history that you heard about. You're only talking about the economic structure that you heard about. If I was to go on that channel right now and I was to ask every one of those listeners over there on the Angry Man channel, what is Morningstar? A couple of them would have probably said a flower. A lot of them would have probably said a beer or some kind of drink. No, Morningstar is a tool that folks use on Wall Street. If there's a symbol for it, it gives you the history of that Wall Street symbol. So a lot of times, instead of me reading Ebony and Jet magazine or Teen magazine, that's what I was reading. A lot of times, instead of me reading what's happening now, instead of me watching a episode of Good Times, I was reading the World Book Encyclopedia from cover to cover, all 27 volumes. If I wanted a brand new pair of shoes, I didn't wait for my parents to go get it. I got out at some point in time, I got out my trusty sling blade, and I went and earned me some money to get me something new. Again, you had these young folks come over there talking about they know about economics. You know what? A lot of you folks learn about economics at the start of that blunt, then you forget about it at the end of the blunt. It's over. And that wasn't your idea. When the blunt is over, that too is your idea of what you're gonna do next. Let's go back to a little bit of the angry man.
Agree with that.
How is that? So you can equate the same level of poverty in, say, a third world country as you can to the level of poverty in America.
In some instances, you can. Like if you live in Flint, Michigan right now, you can equate, the type of poverty and the type of issues that they have to third world countries. And there's a lot of like data that's coming out that is stating that there's like two Americas. Basically, I mean, you probably heard this before, but even more so now, there's basically a permanent underclass, and there's permanent poverty, and then there's people that just have capital.
So if you're saying there's a permanent underclass, what you're saying is there is absolutely... See, this is the problem with this argument. I know the argument that you're trying to get at. And the fact of the matter is, when you look at the argument between Boyce Watkins and I forget the young lady's name, it's not a simple... Yeah, there's not a simple answer to this. They both...
No, there's not.
They both are making very valid points. And somewhere in the middle...
I disagree with that.
Somewhere in the middle, there's a...
I disagree with that.
You disagree with that? So what point are you disagreeing with?
There go my point, folks. That's what I mean, that the black women are raising effeminate young men. Did you hear? This is a conversation that I would expect to hear from a black man and a black woman. I disagree with that. You didn't even let the man finish articulating what he had to say, or what his particular argument was, how he disagreed with you. You kept saying I disagree with that. I disagree with that. That's what a woman does. Again, I don't want to have to keep using this disclaimer of, well, you not all women do that. No, of course not all women do that. I'm talking about you 88%ers that's out here raising these effeminate young black men like this. That you can't hold an intelligent conversation with them because you spend the rest of your time trying to argue with them about why they cut you off. Or spend a 30-minute conversation trying to get an answer out of them, and all they're saying is, well, I feel that. Well, I'm a strong black woman. And I see what I'm saying is, I listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm talking about a man, I'm thinking I'm talking about a woman, because that's how, if I heard him and that's how he's talking, that's how I would see him. I guarantee you, if we get that caller, I can ask him, was you raised by a single black woman? He'll tell me, yeah. You take on her qualities. Y'all can get mad all you want to. There's another guy, he has a channel, and he goes on in hard on it. I listen to his channel from time to time. I don't think he's a fan of the angry man, but Tommy Sotomayor, he rips into black women. When I say rips into them, yeah, it's like, hey, that y'all the worst thing since the plague. I choose not to go that route. I could. I mean, y'all give cannon fodder for the cannon. You young African American men, y'all, I could rip nose up in y'all ass. Because that's what that's when it comes to these black women, that's what a lot of y'all are. Got y'all nose square up their ass. Here's something that I want you guys to, here's a test for all of you that might listen to this later on. When you're driving down the freeway or when you're driving down the road and you see a black man and a black woman in a car, I want you to tell me who's driving. I want you to, not you or you can't tell me, but I want you to remember and ask yourself, damn, there go another black woman driving. Black man sitting in the passenger side looking like he got a mad look on his face. Because that's the worst place that you are with a black woman to be when you have a difference of opinion. In a fucking car. The second reason why I say that is, think about this. Most of the time when you see a black man on the passenger side, he doesn't have a license because of the child support system. Well, see how I bring shit back there 360 to you? Like I say, you got to break child support down to its smallest idea of what it does to black communities. Now you got a black man that has to be taken from point A to point B by this black woman, so it gives her a little bit more power. Nigga, if I don't feel like taking you to work today, I don't. Or shit, I'm mad at you. Get your own ride home. Meanwhile, I work 10 miles away. What the fuck? I look like walking. So you got to sit in the car and hold your tongue for whatever diabolical shit she want to throw at you until you get to work. And then for 8 hours you knowing, damn, this shit gonna pick up right when I get back in the car. Hope there ain't no traffic. I tell you what, hope that you ain't in Atlanta. Hope you got open road. So again, folks, I'm not talking to you about somebody else's experience. I'm talking to you about my own, because I can tell you, there's a point in time, the worst thing I can picture to be in the car with my wife, that's the worst thing in the world to me. I'd rather been bit by a snaggletooth jackass or pulled over by the police 2 o'clock in the morning, knowing I got weed in the car, than to ride 15 minutes down the road with that. So when I say to you black women, you know, you raising the, because now you can hear these black women, think about it. Now that you understand what I'm talking about, like I said, break things down to the smallest. Now you know what I'm talking about. You see black men on YouTube arguing with each other. Like women. Because that's what they're taught. You will not see me and an old partner, an old dude of mine that's around my age, in their 40s and 50s. You will not see us standing up on YouTube, or you will not see us stand up in the street arguing with each other. You will not see us raising our voice with our partners in the room. You will not see us getting on Facebook Live, primping. Don't I look good today? You will not see us walking around with skinny jeans on. So when we get back to the caller, we're going to get to that. We're going to definitely get to it. Matter of fact, here goes some more angry man here. Let's pick up right here. Here we go, angry man. My best man. I can get long-winded, I know, bro.
I disagree with the point that Voice Rocket is trying to make. Because me myself, I
had to skip to that point.
As an institution. And it was a way to demonize black women. And that's my issue.
Get the fuck. See, now we gotta, you know what? Up to this point, I had absolute respect for your argument, but now you're treading into a weak ass argument. Nobody has to demonize black women. They have done that on their own. Nobody has to demonize them.
Okay. And this is the issue. This is the question.
How is it that, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question.
Listen.
Let me ask you a question. Hold on, because I wondered where all of this was coming from.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. On any given day, can you go down to a suburban neighborhood and see 2 30-year-old white women in the middle of the street fighting with a group of white women surrounding them, egging them on, and white men walking around with cameras recording the shit saying World Star?
So you're basing your whole.
You're not answering my question.
Demonization.
Nope. See, exactly it. That's exactly what the angry man was saying. That's exactly what my man was talking about. As soon as you ask somebody a direct question, they want to go to something else. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when I say black women have raised effeminate black men. Simply for that, because that's a deflection mode right there. I don't want to answer your question because that would mean for me to say that you are right. And that's the worst thing that that you 88%ers can be. Excuse me. That's the worst thing an 88%er can do, is to admit that you are right about something. If I'm lying, I'm dying. That's the worst thing they can say. You right. If you want to end the argument, throw those last two words in there. You right. What can you say after that? Now he simply asked that man, would you walk down the middle of suburbia and find two white women fighting with a crowd of motherfuckers hollering World Star with their cameras out? I'll take it even a little farther. Would you go into this is a video that someone posted to me. Two teachers in a classroom fighting, black teachers fighting in front of their students. World Star, World Star. I've seen some of these videos to where the young African American men have actually pushed it up. Sharika, I know you ain't gonna take that shit. I know you ain't gonna let her talk like, oh, you got to beat her ass. You got to get that bitch ass. But then you want to turn around and talk about, oh, I'm a something you 88%ers. I'm a black queen. How do you give yourself a title? I meant to ask that question. How do you give yourself that title? What makes every black woman think that they deserve the title of queen? Look it up. A queen has a loyal subject. Look, a queen has a land. She is the ruler of a certain amount of land. The queen, just because you say you're a black queen, that don't necessarily mean you are. If we equate this to our own neighborhoods as black neighborhoods, if somebody give you a nickname, that's what it has to be. You can't give yourself a nickname. If somebody start calling me Johnny Boom Boom, it's gonna stick. But if I'm walking around, yo man, call me Johnny Boom Boom. What? Nigga, you gonna give yourself a nickname? Not gonna stick. That's the same principle that is about you black queens. I'm independent. I'm self-sufficient. I don't need nothing. I ain't gotta listen to nothing nobody tell me, but I know it all. I can quote that from the Bible. Another thing about you black queens, y'all quick to want to holler about what the Bible verse is. You only use parts of the Bible that are right for you. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not do this. Shit, y'all steal from me all the time. Again, you know, you ask yourself what about black men that you black women need to be protected from. Like I asked my man, angry man, earlier. I said, do you think that you could get a loan, that you could get a business loan? No. They'll give you a loan for a car. They'll give you a loan for a house. They'll give you a loan for a trailer. They'll give you a loan for anything that depreciates, because they know if you buy a house, number one, it's an upkeep to that house. It also is going to be an electric bill, water bill, and all that other stuff that's going into that house. You're going to have to buy household products. But they're not going to give you a business to where you're able to sell those same products to somebody else. I don't need you no more. I can buy my own products. I can build my own house. As a matter of fact, I can sell it to you guys now. You don't see the Chinese. You know, everybody want to complain about the hair stores. The Koreans own all the hair stores. Shit. If black people could put a monopoly on hair, I bet you would. But instead, you'd rather go to that shop and complain about how much it costs, and somebody should open up a shop, and why don't you? Hmm? Why don't you open up a hair shop? I don't know. Angry man, let's go back to you there a little bit. Got to click over that fault, my folks. Here we go. Angry man coming up.
You're not answering my
I'm
question.
getting to your question. I'm getting to your question because this is my problem. This is my whole issue with this view. Is you see, a video of a
Nah, fuck.
of a
Hold on.
black
Back up,
woman
dude.
fighting.
Back up, dude. Back up, dude. Back up. Back up for a second. Back up for a second. Back up for a second. I don't even go there because long before I saw videos on YouTube, I've witnessed black women. I've witnessed them do fucked up shit. I've witnessed black women stab men in their fucking chest and not even get nothing but probation, damn near kill the dude. I've witnessed black women hit dudes with cars. I've witnessed this. I have watched in my life women go from being respectful ladies, because I'm going to tell you something right now. If you go back to the 80s, you don't see this behavior in black women. It's not common. It's not common. But the moment you start getting into the 90s, you start seeing this behavior everywhere. Okay? So this is not me telling you some shit about something I saw on World Star. No, World Star, YouTube, and all of these videos, they just confirm what all of us other black men have known for a very long fucking time. All right? So if you want to come up here and try to defend black women in a way to say that, oh, well, black women are being misrepresented and they're really these, queens and goddesses, you're full of shit.
I'm not saying queens and goddesses. I'm not going in that direction at all. You're trying to frame it into that direction. My issue.
But you said they were.
Again,
you said they were.
is
You said that.
you're
You said that.
anecdotal-
You said
you're
that.
anecdotal evidence
You
to
said.
paint
This is what you
a whole
said.
community.
This is what you said. This is what you said. This is what you
I know
said.
what I said. You don't have to repeat
You
it.
said
You're
no.
using
I'm going. No,
anecdotal
I'm going
evidence
to
for a whole community.
look. Check this out. This is not just a debate between me and you. I know you know what you said, and I know what you said.
Exactly my
I'm
point.
repeating what you said for
Remember-
the people who are
Remember what I said earlier, folks. That once you get into they'll interrupt your conversation, and then you have to spend 15-20 minutes explaining them something that has absolutely nothing to do with the conversation at hand. You hear the angry man right there trying to tell him, I'm repeating what you said because I have to. Well, the average person already knows that. When I say the average person, I'm talking about the average man already knows that. I'm repeating this because now those 12% of black women that understand, I'm repeating this because, oh, I see, because for those are not up to par with what you said, I'm repeating it for that reason. I don't want people to speculate or guess at what I'm talking about. So I'm going to repeat your statement, and then on top of repeating it, I'm going to give you my response to that. But if any of you will understand what I'm saying when it deals with these 88%ers, you don't have that opportunity. And you want to now spend an hour or so arguing about something that's completely unrelated to the topic of what you're talking about. And it's going to take these words, and by the way, to get back to them. Plain and simple, folks. Let's go back to some more angry man here, because this is
for the people who have short attention spans. All right? I'm repeating what you said. You said that back in the day, that because black women have demonized themselves, and I cited the fact that they engage in allowing other black women to portray them in mainstream media in a fucking negative way that demonizes them. So you asked me after that, you said, what percentage of black women do you think are engaging in this? So therefore, I responded to give you a guess of the percentage of black women who I feel are demonizing themselves. Not a percentage of black women who are engaging in criminal activity. Don't twist my words around, dude.
That's what I asked him.
No, you did not ask me
But no,
that.
I'm not pushing you.
No, you did not ask me that.
That's what I'm asking.
Excuse me, if you had to, I don't know the number for that. I don't know the number for that, and I don't have any. And see, here's the thing: the educated, you know what an educated guess is, right? You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so based on the fact that I see on a regular basis, not only in my personal life, but in mainstream media, in every source that I see black women engaging in behavior that is not becoming of black women, at least not the black women that I know of growing up. So based on that, I can give you an educated guess. But so far as black women engaging in criminal activity, I can't give you an educated guess on that.
Okay. I respect that.
That's what I'm saying.
It'd be harder to do anyway.
Yes, it would be harder to do.
My whole thing is,
And here it is again, folks. If you didn't notice this caller did not want to relent to what the angry man was saying until the angry man raised his voice, until he almost screamed at this gentleman, at this caller. Was he able to get his point across? And I say that for a reason. Until you start screaming at folks sometime, you can be as possibly as nice to some black women as you possibly can. But until you start screaming at them, they don't hear you. Until you start calling them out their name, they don't hear you. You want to get a woman 88%'s attention? Let's call her a bitch. She'll drop what she's doing to defend that, to defend her honor. Why are you calling me a bitch? Your mama's a bitch. I'm not trying to make this post about black women. I'm just going on from what I would have said if I was on the show. You know, again, folks, there's two types of black women out here. You know, there's still black women that's been around since the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, still doing what they do. You know. But you got the majority of the dating pool out there that you young African American men have to deal with that ain't about shit. I call them 295, 29 with 5 kids. Don't know where their daddy's at, but they ain't working because you know what? They got child support coming in from 4 or 5 different directions. There was some lady and they said, well, if you have babies, you should be able to take care of them. It's not that easy. It's not easy. It's not easy to take care of once you split up from that woman, because number one, you got 2 things. She resents the fact that especially if you ended the relationship, she resents that, so she's mad about that. Then the next thing, she's mad at the fact that you might move on from another relationship, especially if you still stay in that same town with her. God forbid that y'all see each other somewhere, or you're out with your other with a date or something. That's grounds for some of these women to crank up their car and run you over, like my man said. That's ground for some of these women to pick up a gun and want to shoot you. Y'all seen it. You know he's telling the truth. You know he's absolutely right about what he's saying. So what I say is to you 88%ers, don't get mad when folks call you out. Don't get mad when folks like the angry man. Don't get mad like when the folks the advice channel. Don't get mad like when Tommy Sotomayor. Or don't get mad when a nigga come at you when you got some coochie cutters and ass showers walking down the street, and you say, "What's up, ma?" Like I said in the show, garbage in, garbage out. It's a simple fact, folks. You know, a lot of folks say, well, you don't respect me as a woman. Well, first of all, respect is not something that I need to give you. That's something you need to earn. You wouldn't talk to a white woman like that. Well, first of all, again, I don't talk to white women. So that's an invalid argument. Well, white women do the same thing. Well, go date a white man. Go have a kid by a white man. You know, again, with that, black women are some of the most forgiving people on this planet. You'll watch Roots, and then you'll go out and marry a white guy. You'll root for Scandal, knowing that she's just a modern day whore. So you mean to tell me? Take for instance this. I'm going to take two well-known Hollywood actors, folks. Halle Berry and Denzel Washington. Think of the movie Glory. Denzel should have won an Oscar for that movie. Think of the movie John Q. Denzel should have won an Oscar for that movie. Think of all the dramatic roles that Denzel Washington has played over the years, and the only time he won an Oscar is when he played a crooked black cop. Halle Berry, accomplished actress. Look what she won. She won an Oscar for Monsters Ball because she let some white guy named Billy Bob Thornton. First of all, let the name Billy Bob pork you on stage. Because anyone that thinks that those two were not having live sex, you're an absolute fool. You're an absolute fool. I'm going to shut this down here in a little bit, but before I do, I want to connect to a little bit some Angry Man here, and I'm going to come back here in just a second. Let's get to some Angry Man.
Using that evidence from the mainstream media, when the mainstream media has been proven to be
that's not the only source that I used. And then in addition to that, when you're talking about the mainstream media, we are not talking about, let me explain something to you. Black women have a place. Black women have a place in corporate America and in mainstream media. And they have a say-so in it. And I know that for a fact. How do I know that for a fact? I know that for a fact because
He is absolutely right, folks. If you don't think that black women are not so much they don't own, but they're the stewards of corporate America. Because almost everywhere you go, when you look at commercials, when you go to these offices, or when the first line of defense for white man is black woman. Black women hold an office job in prestige. That's why it's so easy to hire them. A white woman does not see a secretary as prestigious. She looks at that as an ends to a means to get to that next corporate level. A black woman will sit at a secretary's job for 20 years and watch her white counterparts go time after time after time after time up the corporate ladder, and all she can say is, "Well, I guess I didn't have the no, you didn't have the right credentials because you didn't give yourself the right credentials. If you were smart." What I tell all black women, and when I tell my nieces and my nephews and all that, I said, in order to play the game, you got to first be in it. You got to study the game as well. You cannot go to black people and get all the answers. Sometimes you have to engage yourself in the enemy. And let's face it, when it comes to etching out a living in this United States, you have to deal with white supremacists. You have to deal with that religion. I'm not talking about Catholic. I'm not talking about Protestant. I'm not talking about Seventh-day Adventists. I'm talking about the only religion that doesn't have a Bible for it, that doesn't have a written set of instructions for it, is the religion of white supremacy. Because it truly operates everything. You got these 13 families, not one black family is in that 13 families that are rich, are prosperous. You got Donald Trump. Think about this. Donald Trump is making hands over foot right now, being the president of the United States. You think Barack Obama could have had a hotel with his name on it and then raised the price of folks staying there, and to think that white America would allow that? Once you folks start using your head, again, my man came on here and he started spouting out economics like he knew a little something about economics. He didn't know economics from a hole in the wall. Because he knew anything about economics, he would know this, that yeah, there is such a thing as not having shit and ending up with everything. There is such a thing as working to get where you want to go. Did the welfare system destroy black family? For those who allowed it. The welfare system did not destroy my family because my mother never accepted it. She never saw a reason for it. If I don't have it, my children don't need it. Nowadays, gotta have cable. And let me ask you something, folks. What does a 7-year-old child need with a cell phone? What does a 10-year-old child need with a cell phone? I can understand when you get into those teenage 13, 14, then it may be time to introduce yourself to them. But you got 8th, you got 7th graders, 6th graders, 5th graders walking around and the teacher's got to take the cell phone from them at work, at school. Am I wrong? Somebody want to argue with me on that? Didn't think so. Didn't think so. Try again. Angry man? Oh, click the wrong button again. 1 second there, folks.
Good friend of mine, Al Grease, who actually directed a documentary called Frustrated and Frustrated Part 2. He went to 2 of the networks, which one was BET and one was, I think, TV One, I'm not sure, and wanted to put his documentary on their network. And he would told in both places, no, we can't do this because black women will have a problem with it. So what that lets you know is that black women have some say-so over their image that's being portrayed in these television shows and these movies. And they are still showing themselves in a negative light. So what I'm saying to you is that they are playing a key role in demonizing themselves.
Absolutely.
It's a black woman that wrote Scandal.
Thank you very much. They are playing a major role in demonizing themselves. Scandal, Love and Hip Hop, Love and Basketball, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Here go that disclaimer. Well, they got white shows like that too. That's their business. That's their business. If white women want to get on, TV and act a motherfucking fool, let them. That don't mean you have to. If a white woman got on top of the Golden Gate Bridge and jumped off, would you jump behind her? No, you look at it and say that bitch crazy. So that should be the same thing when it comes to this bullshit that you women are backing on TV. There should be a boycott for Scandal. There should be a boycott for Love and Hip Hop. But as you black women describe it, that's your guilty pleasure. Using the word guilty because you know some of the same shit that you see on that screen is some of the same shit you do. 12% does not watch Love and Hip Hop. A 12% does not watch Basketball Wives. When I say 12%, I don't mean to. I don't want to put them down in any light by attaching a number to them. So I'll explain to you what I mean by 12%. When I say 12%, that means that woman, and I'm gonna say black woman. That black woman understands what her place is. She understands that she's the mother of my children. She understands that she is the reason why I get up to take care of her and her children. She understands that when I'm hungry, that I shouldn't have to ask her, baby, when's something going to be cooked? She understands that when I need some loving, I shouldn't have to tell her, well, I ain't had no sex in a week. She understands that your mother is not the answer to everything. She understands that she's never going to call me out of my name in public. She understands that when my friends come over to the house to excuse herself, she understands that when I take her out, she's not going to go out with her ass hanging out. She's going to dress the part, whether it be semi-sexy or whatever. A little black dress can be just as sexy as a dress with 50,000 holes in it with your titties hanging out. A white dress can be just as sexy as a pair of hot pants and culottes. She understands that. She also understands that when she does go out, she's a direct representation of her family. So she's not going to get out with the rag on her hair. She's not going to get up and go to the store with her house, with her night clothes on, straight out the bed, straight to the car. She's not going to sit. She's not going to sit and curse in front of her children as if she doesn't have an education. Someone said this. I don't agree with this, but some black women are the worst stewards of children that they could possibly be. And in some cases, he is absolutely right. You hear some kids, I don't want to go back to Miss Johnny's house. Why? Because she nasty. What do you mean she nasty? She don't do nothing. All she doing to do is watch TV, and she don't cook nothing. And their food don't taste good because there's no reason for her to want to do any better. There's no incentive in being, how I say it, do I dare to say it? A 12%er, 88er. Argue with me if you think I'm wrong, folks. You got some folks in your family right now that y'all know is 88%ers. Y'all know it. Y'all got some women in your family y'all know right now that are 12%ers. Y'all know it. You can call them up. The big word of the day was ratchet. All of y'all know y'all got some ratchet motherfuckers in your family. I got some in mine. I got some ratchet ass bitches in my family. But that's them, because I don't have to deal with them. Angry man.
What is the show Scandal? Scandal is a black woman who's supposed to be a educated, very accomplished black woman, but she reduces herself to being this president slut. Okay? So let's not play these fucking games where we try to pretend like
this is not. Okay, but my thing is, and I could agree to 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
If he wins the lottery, then I lost 100,000. I didn't lose the 50 I was paying him. I lost 100,000.
Opinion on this: How does keeping programs like Section 8 and food stamps, how does that help us as black people get to a better place financially? That's what I'm trying, because from what I've seen, it only encourages black people to do worse.
Well, actually, it could.
It could if they did it right.
It doesn't, because if black people did it right, they're like, okay, here is $1. Here's a food stamp. We can turn it into $1.
Here's the thing about this support system, folks. You know, everybody, I keep hearing folks say, well, if black people is this. Well, again, black people are not the people that will be most directly affected if the welfare system was shut down. We will not be the most. Yes, there will be a percentage of black women that will be affected if the welfare system was shut down. But it won't hurt us as much as it already is. So there's no win-win, and there's no win situation in that. All it is what the welfare this system does. It is a system of fallback. Well, if I get fired, I know I got the welfare system to fall back on. So hence, I can be late to work. You ever heard this thing from some black women? Well, the reason why I'm not late to work, because usually that's when shit jump off. That's when the white man come there shooting up motherfuckers. So I come in 5 minutes late, so I'll miss whatever going on. Huh? I don't understand some of the logic that some of you folks have when you talk about this. Angry man, help me out here a second.
You know, then we can do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's
right. This welfare system of thinking that if the welfare system was cut off, the black population will go fucking crazy. Well, again, if you look at the statistics, folks, we only make up 13% of this population. Now, I might be a little off on my percentages, but so how can we be the masses of a population that we're the minority in? You know, white folks like Bill O'Reilly and all that want to tell you there's a war on white Christian, hardworking men, and that's another thing. You know, a lot of folks say if you in order to define yourself as a man, you got to follow a certain guideline. Well, who made that guideline to say that you are a man? Who says that if you have a job, that qualifies you as to be a man? Who says that if you have children, that qualifies you being a man? Who says that if you're successful at a business or you're successful at a career or whatever, that qualifies you to be a man? That's another thing that white religion, that we call white supremacy. That's what it has everyone believing. It actually gives you two things. It gives you the idea of what Jesus should be, and then it'll tell you, and then it drops down to earth and tell you what the prerequisite is to be considered as a man. Now, if you telling me that ain't some hellified religion for somebody to tell you what it is to be a man? No, the thing it is to be a man is, first of all, you got to have a dick between your legs. That's a prerequisite to being a man. That's for sure. That's the only prerequisite it takes to be a man, that you got a dick between your legs. Now, how you act as a man as far as your character is concerned, that's it. If you want to be one of them soft metrosexual men, that's on you, but you're still a man because you got a dick. If you want to be a gay man and walk around and pump yourself full of titties and put hair and makeup on, you're still a man because you got a dick. And don't get yourself fooled there, folks, just because you cut your dick off or get it tucked in, that you're any less a man. You still are. So the prerequisite of a man is just one thing: to have a dick. It's not about how much money you make or how much you earn or what big house you got. Those are the ideas of what it takes to be a man. Now, you can put those ideas into motion and in faction or into action and bottle all that up and then say, okay, here's the picture I painted to be a man. Because if you go way back way back before there was such thing, cars and big buildings and all that, so you're telling me that a man that was born in 1700s was not a man? Or do you tell me that a man that was born in an Aborigine tribe somewhere, because he don't have a job and a big house or a car or whatever, that he's not a man? That's telling me that's what you're saying the prerequisite of being a man is all about. So who told you that? Who gave y'all that idea?
Only like a one generation thing. And that's how other immigrant cultures, have taken advantage of that. They come over and they take the food stamp money and turn it into college educations, so their kids can become doctors or something. Mm-hmm. While we just use it as a means to, to break other black people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it could be used in that way. Like you said, it existed before the 80s and before the 60s or whatnot, and it.
In my opinion, the Section 8 cuts and all of that.
It was Lyndon B. Johnson that made some sort of quote to the effect of, give them just enough to where they'll be complacent, but don't give them enough to where they can actually.
That was Lyndon B. Johnson that said, give them just enough. Give them just enough to where they're not so much complacent to where they get to a comfort level that where they feel they don't want more. And that's the thing about what it boils down to. Like I said, you break everything down to its smallest idea. And if you break the black woman down to its smallest idea or ideal, she's not hungry anymore. My mother was hungry. My mother got up at, I would say at 6 o'clock in the morning. She didn't ask no one to take her to work. She didn't ask no one to pick her up. But she was gone. And then when my mother got off, instead of her saying, you know what, my day's over with, I'm kicked back, I ain't cooking dinner, she made sure she cooked dinner for 10 children. And then after she finished cooking dinner for 10 children, she would go somewhere, either do some crocheting, make her some blankets, make her some dresses. She would sell them dresses or sell her time. My mother worked 24/7. And the only time she probably slept, I'm sure she did. You know, well, a lot of folks are saying, well, your mama had 10 kids, she didn't do much sleeping. Yes, she did. But what I'm saying to you folks is, you know, everyone has an excuse, and the excuses are like assholes. We all got them, and they normally stink. And that's the thing about what it is with black women. There's 88% that I'm talking about. Y'all got a bunch of excuses to why something didn't go your way, why something didn't happen this way. Why there was a lady on my show. I'm not going to call her out, but well, on this part I will. There was a lady named Rain Raphael, and she asked a question about brown. She calls them brown girls and brown boys. You know, what would you consider would a date at McDonald's be sufficient for you? And you should have read the post of the black women. Fuck no, hell no. I wish a nigga would try and take me to McDonald's. You want it? That's another topic, folks. I'm not even going to dwell into that. Angry man. Had a little problem here. Let me see if I can get that back. Might not have. Let's see. I think I lost a little connection there from the Angry Man channel. Just 1 second there, folks. I'll try and connect it back. Let's see.
Really hard to.
There you go. Here we go.
How fucking hard you try to defend it? There's no defense for it. You only gonna end up making yourself look crazy. You only gonna end up making yourself look fucking crazy, man. Let's see. Who else has been waiting? Wow. Wow.
$1,500 a month.
And see that?
And they're giving it out to all of these women. They're having 5 and 6 kids. I see them.
How fucking hard you try to defend it? There's no defense for it. You only gonna end up making yourself look crazy.
This is the gentleman that I want.
Only gonna end up making yourself look fucking crazy, man.
I know it's going on a little longer here, folks, than I anticipated.
Who else has been waiting?
Here we go. This is the guy that I've been waiting for.
Some of y'all been waiting for a minute. (718). Who am I speaking with?
Yo, man, this is Chuck, man. I appreciate your show, man.
What's going on? I'm glad you called in and said that, bro, because his math wasn't adding up. Because I'm sitting here like, I know how much chicks be getting. My man
was talking about the black farmers. Yo, he was talking about the black farmers. Let me tell you what they did to the black farmers. Department of Agriculture. Mm-hmm. Right? They're supposed to be giving out those loans for those farmers that were in distress. They didn't give no black farmers no loans. They gave all the white farmers the loans. You see these congressmen, Michelle Bachmann and all of them out there in Minnesota, they got all this doggone land, these farmland, ain't growing not one stick of corn. But they're getting all this money from the government for having this farmland that they ain't growing anything. So who's on welfare and who's not?
Yeah, man.
They getting big money, big kickbacks for that land.
It's a whole lot. And I'm gonna tell you something, real talk. This is another reason why when I started watching Old Boy, cause I was sitting there thinking to myself, cause you know I'm going through my child support thing and been going through it for a minute, on and off. And I'm sitting here like, yo, something is not right about this shit. Like, I'm sitting here looking at the procedures and the way they're going about the shit. And I'm like, yo, man, something is not right about it. Something is fishy about the shit. It's gotta be.
Criminal, man.
It gotta be, man. It
How
gotta
come
be.
when you go into a child support hearing, they want discovery on you, but you can't get discovery on her?
Here again, you know, a lot of what this guy is saying up front here, he's absolutely right. You cannot go to a child support agency and collect information on that mother. They will tell you this, and I'm not speaking from what someone else told me. I'm speaking from experience. What they'll tell you is, send us a letter of what information that you want, and we'll pass it on to the mother. When the mother answers us the letter, we'll send the information to you. Here's case in point. Again, you know, the child support system, they expect you not, if you have, God forbid that you find another person that you want to settle down with and have children with, or that you want to fall in love with and you want to spend time with. God forbid that should happen, that you two decide that you want to have a child together. Because automatically that creates a problem for, how do we say, the powers that be. Oh, you marrying this man and he having babies everywhere. Well, what's my option now? Should I remain a single man for the rest of my life that just should concentrate on some children that I don't, number one, I may not know where they're at. Number two, I'd like to know where my money's going. So why can't I ask this mother what she's doing with my money? Why can't I see what she's spending my hard-earned money for when it comes to my children? Why do I have to pick up the phone and go through the child support agency to get the number to my children so I can talk to them? Why do I have to go? Here's the point that I'm saying to you. And folks, if you get mad if you want to, if you get back to this baby mama, number two, you get mad, I'll tell you this. There was a certain situation where the baby mama was removed from the house. Instead of them calling me to tell me that this baby mother was being removed from the house, they decided to send my children to the cousin. So the cousin decided that she wasn't getting enough money. So she wouldn't. How can a cousin put me on child support? Merced County allowed that to happen. The county of San Francisco allowed that to happen. So here it is. I'm not only paying child support to the child's mother, I'm now paying child support to someone I never met in my life. And how do I find this out? Because I'm concerned about my children. I'm concerned about the welfare of my children. I haven't heard from them. Where these folks' mama at? Come to find out, she out of the house. Had been gone out of the house for 18 months. Did anyone call and say, Music, you want to come get your children? Or can you figure out a way to come pick up your children? Can you come to California and get your children? No. You know what they told me? Well, we had no way of contacting you. You had no way of contacting me, but I was still getting a letter from the Merced County and San Francisco County Child Support every month telling me that I wasn't paying child support, or telling me how much money I had paid in the child support. So how the fuck can you tell me you didn't have a way to contact me? When you say the child support system is criminal, of course it is, because it's run by the white supremacists. It's run by one of those 13 families that had all that money. Get mad if you want. The truth is truth. Tell them about it, angry man.
And Chief sitting there pointing you out saying, yeah, he the baby daddy. Yeah, he's the one. I'm the one what? Let me tell you something. My baby mother been living in my apartment that I provide 2 bedrooms for 4 years. She been saying that I'm an absent fucking father.
Wow.
Are you serious? I'm paying.
See, the thing about it is, you don't have to, the woman can go down, she doesn't have to prove that she's right. That she doesn't have to prove anything. All she has to do is go and fill out some paperwork, put any kind of bogus information on there that she wants to, and that's taken as gospel. You could be living right next to your baby mama, and she can go down to the DSF or the child support office and tell them, I don't know where the nigga at. And then you got this such thing as that social security number that if you're working anywhere, they don't even have to contact you. Wait a minute. If the mama is, she's filing a case in Gwinnett County, and according to this man's social security number, he's also working in Gwinnett County. What you mean you don't know where he at? I'm not talking to you about somebody else's experience. I'm talking about my own. You heard that man talk about his own experience. He talking about it. His baby mom was living in an apartment that he was paying for, and she told him he didn't know where he's at. And see, that's another thing I got wrong with black people. Y'all live in apartments too fucking long. You pay for something year after year after year after year that ain't never going to be yours. Think about this. The average apartment is $500 a month. If you can afford $500 to $700 a month in rent, you can afford $500 to $600, $700 a month in mortgage. Am I right or am I wrong?
Rent.
Wow.
$1,500 a month.
And see, that's
$1,500 a month. She's been lying to fucking welfare.
And see, that's the thing. That's the thing that really bothered me about the whole situation is they can go down there and they can make.
And the other corruption thing is these lawyers that work in the family court system.
Oh yeah.
You know, this thing that Armand Osiris put me on, like they're contracted through the American Bar Association, through social services. So, you know, they're really not there to beat your child support case.
No.
Well, those lawyers, first of all, they spend time in between being prosecutors and defense attorneys. So they talk to each other every day. Yeah, again, I'm not going to tell you about what someone else's experience is. I'm going to tell you about my own. In 2003, once I decided, okay, I need to go get a lawyer to defend myself in this child support stuff. So, in the case of me being incarcerated, I'll say incarcerated because they call it work release, but if I can't go home and I'm not free to take a shit in the morning and smoke a cigarette, I'm locked up. So I decided to hire a lawyer. I paid this lawyer $1,500 to, number one, defend me. He told me, well, your case is open and shut. You have one of those, what you call, this is how the lawyer explained it to me. You go out and you buy a brand new car and you wreck it. And you don't have insurance on the car. You're going to have to pay for that car until you finish paying for it. In this case, you went out and had children with a welfare mother. As long as there is a welfare system, as long as there's someone that's going to tell her that she's right about these benefits that she's receiving, you'll never be off of this. So I paid this man $1,500 to go into a courtroom to tell me that you still got to pay $450 a month. I'm sorry, $384 every 2 weeks. Sorry, don't want to misquote. So add that up. 384 and 384 is what? Add it up, folks. That's how much I was paying for child support after my children were 21 years old. After my son, my youngest son moved out of the house when he was 18 years old. That was in the 2000s. I'm still paying child support. They would say, you want to find somebody? Tell them, just take them to child support.
No.
They're there to get you to pay.
Yeah, they're there to get you to. They're there to get you. Like I'll give you a prime example. Like I did, I did. They wanted to lock me up for owing arrears, and it wasn't because I owed arrears, because they won't lock you up for owing. They'll lock you up if you miss payments for a certain period of time. So I missed some payments and they wanted to lock me up. Now keep in mind, I'm looking at the paperwork. The paperwork is saying it's civil. So I'm like, how the fuck you gonna lock somebody up for some civil shit? So
Cause breach of contract.
Yeah, breach of contract. So that's the crazy shit. So you know what I'm saying? So I'm I go get this court-appointed lawyer and she ain't telling me shit.
Oh no.
You feel me? So
let me correct both of those gentlemen right now. When they said breach of contract, no, it's not breach of contract. What the judge holds you in contempt because you have an order that says you have to pay a certain amount. And because you didn't pay that amount, the judge can now hold you in jail for up to 30 days for contempt of court. That's where child support gets you at. So each time that you fail to pay an active child support case, the judge can hold you in contempt of court. That's what makes it civil. That's why it's called, they say it's family court or civil court, because the judge can only hold you in contempt. He can't convict you of a crime that's no such crime. That's not no such thing as a crime as having a bill that you can't pay. Child support is the only bill that someone can get locked up for not paying. Let's go to Sears or go to one of these department stores and run up a credit card bill and tell them you're not going to pay you. They can't come and lock you up for that. But child support is the only bill that a black man or any man can get locked up for. And see, again, the system is designed for just that. Because once you get locked up enough times, it's a stigmatism to where, okay, you can't hold the job down because I can't take a chance on hiring you, because at any time child support might come and scoop you up and put you back in jail. Again, I'm not telling you about somebody else's experiences. I'm telling you about my own. Because from 2003 to 2011, I fought the law, and the law won. So the last time I went back to the Gwinnett County court system, I looked at that judge and I said, this is the last time you will see me here on a voluntary basis. My children are grown. The child that I have, I am currently taking care of. You do not allow me to take care of this child by telling me that I have to pay you $284 a week to go out and work. By telling me that I could not work my own business, that I had to go find a job that was paying me $7.25 an hour, to where at the end of the week that money went directly to going to work the next week. So let me explain this to you folks. The last time I was in work release, I was there for 7.5 months. And out of that 7.5 months, I paid them $2,750 and some change. Out of that $2,700 and some dollars, my children's mother got $216. So if you want to talk about a corrupt system, there it is. And if you don't believe me, folks, I can photocopy the paperwork and post it right here. I've kept every piece of paperwork from the first day that I went to court behind child support to the last day I went. If you don't chronologize your life in that aspect, you have no defense for it. Angry man?
I had went and I had filed bankruptcy and shit, so they had to stop the whole process. And I asked the chick I needed a continuance because I was trying to get all the paperwork in order. So I asked my court-appointed lawyer, I said, look, I need you to request a continuance or an extension. Now keep in mind, my mother worked in the courts for years, so she didn't already school me on what to do. She's like, call her and ask her to request tell her to request the continuance. So I called up and she was like, well, I don't think that the judge is going to allow a continuance because it's a civil matter. I said, excuse me, first and foremost, there's a possibility. Isn't there a possibility of me getting jail time? And she said, yes. I said, then how does it classify as a civil matter? I said, I need you to request a continuance. And she was like, well, I'll see what I can do. I said, no, I don't see what you can do. Do what I asked you to do. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, you're representing me. You're my lawyer. You feel what I'm saying? And so she kind of acted like she was going to do what she wanted.
Plate, man, and push this thing all the way back, man, because the whole system is corrupt. They side with these women. They give them free freaking. If I want a lawyer, yo, I got to go with all of it.
Like, this is a universal principle, what I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
There are two problems when it comes to the fuck. You've got the actual perpetrators. So those are the people actually doing the bullshit. You have what I call wants to do the right thing, and then they run into that buzzsaw because they realize the system is not just.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I'm flashing back and forth too, folks, but
and the last thing
I'm trying to catch up here. I'm going to wind us up here in just a little bit.
No, I just wanted to say, man, a lot of women, because there's a couple women in the comment section who was kind of saying black men are complaining.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be clear here. If black men really wanted create women like you by purposely withholding information from them so they can fall hit the same. It's kind of like when you want to create Misery Loves Company and you want to create a whole bunch of mutilated people, so you have them walk a path that you know has landmines on it, and you know where the landmines are because you didn't touch a couple of them motherfuckers, but you say, oh, I want them to be like me.
You want them to go through the same shit.
Landmine. And he was saying, and other women were, and these were women of like different age groups too. Like someone went in their 40s, someone went in their like late 20s, and it wasn't like they were beating her up because she was able to talk. But it was so magnificent. It was beautiful, and he needs to upload that video. But I'll give you the other one. But yeah, man. And the last thing I really want to hammer home is this. We gotta stop assuming that a black man is put on child support is not doing his job as a man. We have this, and I'm talking to black men. You notice how if you in a barber shop and if a black man is complaining about child support, what's the first thing you'll hear old niggas say? You need to handle your responsibility.
You need to handle your business, you know, old slave nigga.
like it's assumed that he's complaining because he's not. And I'm like, he wouldn't be complaining if he was. If he was not trying, he would not be complaining.
Exactly. You wouldn't say shit.
He wouldn't have nothing to say.
He wouldn't say shit. He wouldn't say nothing.
You don't hear them. You don't hear them dudes. Exactly. But them dudes always have an obligation to put that out there. Like it's naturally assumed. Well, it's kind of like when you try to set the record straight when sisters are talking their BS. It's like, well, first of all, you need to handle your responsibility. There are no black men that believe that black men should be out here having kids and just leaving them out to die. No black man believes that.
No.
But so this idea that you gotta correct that, that's why I started to disrespect a lot of old niggas that would say that. And they would say you should disrespect your elders like BBS would say that. And I would say no. Because you gotta slam that door in their face so they know they full of shit. You can't be letting dudes say any old thing because they old.
Nah.
Because then you can't tell the difference between a BGS and an old nigga.
Yeah. Because you know.
But the point is, black.
Go ahead.
No, what you say?
No, I was gonna say like, you know, the whole thing with brothers who are complaining, they complaining because they go like the dudes that you know are basically what we call the dirty dick Rodneys. They don't have nothing to complain about because they not like, I'm not gonna complain. Like if you see somebody that got a fucking high ass car payment and he's trying to make the car payment, he gonna complain because it's stressing him out. But a nigga that don't have no intention of paying the damn car payment, he just like, I'm gonna just ride this motherfucker till they repossess this bitch. He ain't gonna complain because he don't give a shit.
Yeah, they carefree about it.
He don't give a shit.
They're carefree about it. Yeah, and JC in the chat, shut the fuck up. I'm not complaining about laws that I wish were there. There's real paternity fraud that's getting pulled.
Exactly.
No, seriously,
See, that's the part that I mean. That the more that I thought we were talking to a man, but now this is the part that we were going to go all the way back to the beginning to where I thought this was a woman, because actually I had stepped out of the room for a minute, and then this is the part that I heard about. You know, I thought it was a woman because I didn't know he switched callers, so I didn't know that he was still talking to the gentleman earlier. I thought he'd switched callers and was talking to a woman. So that's what made me say the things that I'm saying. So I'm going to let you go listen to this one more time, and then I'll pick up from there.
And I'm going to tell you something. Like, I'm not going to bring my own mom into this because I love my mom. But, man, I even had to pay for shit that my mom did, and I'm her fucking son. And I had to fucking pay for that. I had to pay like $1,500 back in the snap. They took out of my fucking check for my fucking taxes. So there is, and I wouldn't put my own mom in jail over that shit. I will eat that shit. But my point is, there's real laws that women are breaking. And there's a lot of shit that is considered fraud in any other part of the law. But in child support law, it's like this protection clause there. It's like that legalese bullshit. It's kind of like stand your ground. Where a white person, it's a lot easier for a white person to pull stand your ground than it is a black women that try to pull stand your ground get put to fucking jail.
Yeah.
Even if they just shoot the gun in the air, versus white men can kill a black person and then get off stand your ground. So it's kind of like that. So shut the fuck up with that stupid shit.
Matter of fact,
like, it's not us complaining. This is real shit.
Matter of fact, I think that's him at 843. I'm gonna bring him into this conversation because he's running his mouth too much. Yo.
Yo.
Who is this? Is this MrDJMuziq?
Yes, sir, buddy. This is me, my man.
And what did you have to say? Because I see you in the chat room. What's going on?
What's going on there, Mr. Angry Man? I just want to, I'm from the old school, so I just want to holler at that last cat that was on there. Not all us old school cats think like that.
He's right here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, not all us old school cats think like that. But we don't have that mentality of, damn man, you should handle your business. No. I'm one of those old school cats that firmly believe, bro, that the system is fucked up and it's geared to fuck us up. So
it's about 50-50.
No, it's not
50-50. I know all of them ain't like that.
It's a much higher percentage than 50-50. I'm a product of the 60s.
Okay, well,
so I've seen this shit from the start to right now. I've seen what's going on from 1962 on to now. And there's a difference in black women. I'm going to tell you, some of you black women to get on here and talk about, oh, y'all shouldn't talk about it like that. But like my man, Angry Man said, you gave us reason to talk about you like that because you will not see a woman from 1960 on Facebook, YouTube, with the first picture that you contacted her is her ass up in the air with a pose. And then the next picture you see is her child talking about, look at my baby.
Damn.
Come on, you didn't see that in the 60s. You didn't see that in the 70s. You didn't see that in the 80s. You see this in the 90s and the 2000s.
Well,
so don't get mad, black ladies, when we talk shit about you.
Well, I think.
Remember when I said it's that one old nigga.
I think Edward. I think
that indicates that I don't mean to do it.
Well, hold on. I think Edward was saying that he think it's 50-50, meaning as far as 50-50 is 50% old dudes that know what time it is, and it's 50% old dudes that's on that other shit. I think that's what he meant. I may be wrong. Is that what you were saying, Edward?
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
well, all right.
yeah,
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that. It is 50-50. You got some cats that's my age. You know, you sit around the barbershops and stuff like that talking about, man, these young folks just don't get it. No, they don't get it because we didn't give it to them. So some of the shit that's going on is our fault, bro. You can't expect to give a cat an education and sit back and talk and you think you got a solution when you sitting here telling me a cat your age and my age, you can't teach me, bro. I already know. I've been through it. I've been through the 60s when I had to go through the back door and eat to buy chicken. I've been through the 60s where a cat handed me some cookies out of a jar, and I know he didn't wash his hands. I know he did. I've been through all of that. So nobody in this room can tell me how right and wrong they are about the situation, because all this stuff you guys talking about, I've lived it, bro. I've been in it. I've been down the street where my mom said, you know, another thing, you folks talking about the difference in black women. When my pops was in the army and my uncles was in the army, who the hell who you guys think held us down? Who you think was out there taking them low menial jobs for absolutely nothing? My mother raised 10 children, folks, and did not ask for a dime.
I gotta say something. I don't mean to cut you off, but I gotta say something. Here's one of the things that's getting on my motherfucking nerves, and I want to say this, and I want every simp ass nigga and every black woman to hear me.
That's the point. That's my point right there. Again, it goes back to that situation of where someone has to outdo you, and that's the natural mentality of those 88%ers. They have to outdo you. Now, there was nothing else that I said this now that man could have added to. And he talking about, he says, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yes, you did. Because if you didn't mean to cut me off, you would have been silent. You wouldn't have said anything. And that's one of the things that these women, these 88%ers will say, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did anyway. So damn what you got to say, because what you say is not more important than what I got to say. It ain't important. Listen to what I got to say. And that's a direct product of black men that's been raised to be effeminate, that's taken on the qualities of these millennial mothers that figure the best thing that you can do with somebody is argue with them, and if they don't see your point, fuck you. I ain't got shit to say to you, motherfucker, because all you want is some ass. And that's another thing. You black women, so many times y'all think y'all all about ass and pussy. Shit, y'all, that comes a dime a dozen. That comes a dime a dozen. I had to check another number there, folks. My bad on that one. Let's see what we gonna do here. Actually, it's about time to go ahead and shut this down here. So I'll just say this in the long run, in the end. You know, a lot of times, folks, it's easy to blame someone else for the problems of what you have, or what the problems that are sitting in front of you. Now, the Angry Man, I like his channel because, you know, he's a little rough around the edges sometimes, but he gets exactly to the point of what needs to be said. You know, he doesn't sugarcoat a lot of things, and that's that's the problem with our communities. We sugarcoat too many things. Again, I say, black women are some of the most forgiving women in the world. You know, let's take for instance this Charleston 9. White guy Dylan Ruth goes into a Charleston place to where they're worshiping at, kills 9 parishioners, and you got another black woman that's saying the Lord gonna forgive him, the Lord gonna bless him. Fuck him. It was written, remember, OJ in jail right now because they thought he got away with murder. OJ broke into the hotel room to take some shit that belonged to him, but they called that armed robbery. They didn't arrest OJ because of that armed robbery. They arrested him because he killed some white women. And then for those of you who think that OJ wasn't there, the fuck you get some ties 12 Bruno Marley's at all the time. Where you do that at? Kiss my ass. Good night, folks.